So ever since we moved to our current house, which was about 18 months ago now, I've never really been terribly happy with my Batman room. It's always felt a little bit cramped and overwhelming. I think I made the mistake of blocking off the window with the black display cabinets, and it also blocked off the radiator, so it always felt quite cold in this room as well. So not only was it always quite dark without the lights on, but I think the fact that there was stuff going on all four sides of the room was just a little bit too much. You're sitting there in the middle of the room trying to watch telly or just chilling out, and there's just stuff going on all the way around you, and it's just, definitely too overwhelming. For this reason, I never really used the room as much as I'd like to. It actually just became a bit of a storage room and a dumping ground for any new deliveries I might have got, and then when I'd get the time, I'd just simply open them and add them to the shelves. One thing about this room that I've never really been able to change as well, there is an electric cupboard in the corner of the room with the fuse box and electric meter inside. It would cost far too much money to get this moved, because this room is actually in an extension, so I guess originally it would have been on the outside wall of the house. But yeah, it would have cost apparently about £1,500 to get it moved, so I wasn't going to be paying that. So the thing that was always a problem is the fact that the doors being on a hinge, you always had to allow for the door to open, and it meant that you couldn't really put anything too close up to the cupboard itself. But I'm actually going to change the hinges on the door for magnets, so that will be so much easier just to be able to lift the door off and then move it out of the way when I need to. The other thing I was desperate to change is to incorporate enough space to have a bigger telly, because I only had a really cheap small telly in here before, so of course not the best for gaming or watching anything Batman related. Speaking of which, it was good timing me doing this revamp now, because we've just had the Black Friday sales in November, and I've managed to pick myself up a new Samsung TV and soundbar for a really good price, and it's the perfect kind of size that I wanted for the room as well. So the first thing I've done is put the bracket up on the wall so the TV can go up, and the soundbar is also on the wall, and then I've used the plastic cable trunking just to make that look a bit neater as well. Now the next thing I've done is got another single Kallax box from IKEA to add into the corner here, because previously I had 5 glass Detolfs which only required a certain amount, but now that I'm changing my cabinets, they actually need to be a little bit wider, and it worked out perfectly that I had just enough space for one more Kallax box. By far the worst part of doing this room revamp is to have all your stuff all over the place, which is currently where I'm at the moment. I've had to empty all of the Detolfs because I've sold the entire lot to somebody on Facebook Marketplace, which will help to refund some of the money that I've put towards the new cabinets. And here they are. So these ones are actually from Amazon. They were recommended to me by both the Retro Batcave and Batman Unboxed. They have built-in lighting, and I quite like the fact that they have the black backdrop rather than it just being all clear glass, and being wider shelves as well, you can get plenty of stuff on each shelf. So, because my measurements were all spot on right, it's literally 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches, right? And then even nicer, this middle cabinet from the wall to that edge is 44 3/4 inches. Okay, and now I've got these ones in place. From the wall to that edge is 44 3/4 inches with a 3-inch gap in the middle. How good is that? So literally this one is exactly opposite that middle one, with all the same gaps between all of them. Nice. If it's not already obvious, I'm really fussy and OCD about these things. Another Amazon pickup is these figure stands, because I thought these would be perfect for the animated series figures, just to be able to get a bit more in on each shelf. Well, I think the time has finally come to have a look in my new room. So we'll open up the Shakespeare bust, give the switch a flick, and let's take a look inside. probably still looks a little bit cramped in here in terms of the amount of stuff I've got on certain shelves, but it is really tricky when you've got a whole collection of stuff that, you know, you don't want to sell everything off. And I think part of my problem is that I don't really tend to just have one single focus. I genuinely love all versions of Batman. I mean, that's what makes him great, right? There's literally a Batman for everyone. The main thing is I've managed to achieve the things I wanted to achieve, which is unblocking the window, so I've now got more light coming in through there. Also the heat from the radiator. I've got the better telly on the wall and changed the layout, which just makes a lot more sense this way. Also sorted out the electric cupboard door and just improved the cabinets as well. So let's take a look through the collection. So first up here we have a couple of pieces of art which have always been my absolute favourite. I think particularly this Mask of the Phantasm one is probably my favourite piece of art I own in the whole collection. I absolutely love this. So they're both by an artist called Sam Gilby. They're from, obviously originally sold through Bottleneck Gallery. So you can see here, this just looks absolutely fantastic. And then we have the Sub-Zero one here as well. And what I've tried to do is basically get a print for each animated movie, or DC AU animated movie. So we'll get onto that in a little bit. But yeah, that's those two. Now this is a bit random, but when I revamped the room, unfortunately I no longer really have space for this Batman Forever one, which is the Sam Ferguson Batman Forever Batmobile print. But I did only just get it this summer, and I do still love it. So I had this random space here behind the door, and it just fit sort of perfectly, and I thought, it looks weird, but that'll do, and at least I still get to enjoy it then, so I don't feel like I've got to sell it. On the windowsill here, we have the Diamond Select PVC Batman and Robin from the animated series. Again, always loved these. I think they look absolutely fantastic together. Obviously, they did come separately, but they just pair so well together. You got Batman with his grapple gun and Robin with the bowler. So yeah, they look straight out of the cartoon. Absolutely love those. Next up, we have the Quantum Mechanics Batarang from Ben Affleck's Batman v Superman or Justice League. It's actually a real quite weighty metal Batarang, and it's also quite sharp. I love the fact that the base is the logo, and it is magnetic as well, so it just simply plonks on there, and that looks really cool. We also have a few extra little Ben Affleck Batman pieces here, which to be honest didn't really fit anywhere, so I've just put them on the windowsill for now. So this particular statue I got really cheap off eBay quite a few years ago now. It's obviously from the Justice League movie, sort of based off the scene where he's standing on the edge of the building. And to be honest, I've never actually found out what the company is who made it, because I haven't really been able to find it, to be honest. So yeah, if anyone knows, let me know. But it looks really cool. So next to the window this side, we have a couple more pieces of art. This is the 66 piece done by an artist called Flory. Yeah, I guess you could technically display it both ways. I mean, I've got it like this, so it looks like he's climbing up the building, or Batman and Robin are climbing up. But when I was putting it in the frame, I thought, well, if you really wanted to, you could also display it that way, because the logo would almost be the right way up. And then the funny thing is, that is actually how they did it in real life, sort of walking along the floor, which was the building. So yeah, it's just cool. You could kind of do it either way, really. And then underneath we have the Batman Returns movie poster, which I've always loved the design of this one, so I've had that in a frame for quite a few years now. And then under that we have some cardboard cutouts of Batman and Robin from the 66 show, and I got them cheap off Facebook Marketplace, and you may have seen an Instagram video that I did back in the summer where I had some fun with those. On the top of the first cabinet, we've got a few Arkham Funkos, including Arkham Asylum, which again, I've always loved that one, because it's essentially the cover of the game sort of done as a Funko Pop with a nice backdrop. The recently released Arkham City Funko, and the Arkham Knight Batman as well. And then next to that, we've got the Koto Bukiya PVC Batman from Arkham City, again, sort of based on the artwork where he's on the edge of the building there. So that looks great. Next up, the Riddler mask I randomly came across on eBay probably a year ago now. Thought that looked really quite accurate to the movie, so I managed to snap that up real cheap. Got a polystyrene head off eBay and some clear framed glasses, Again, all done really cheap, but makes like a really cool replica to have from the movie. And that is next to the Hot Toys Bat Signal, which came with the Patterson Batman Hot Toys figure, which we'll get onto now. So the Batman section, we have the Funko Bruce Wayne, some McFarlane figures because we've got Penguin and Catwoman, and then also Riddler. Oh, and the Batcycle as well. The Batmobile is Jada, I believe, the die-cast Jada Batmobile, which does light up. The Drifter Clothes was a kit where you make the figure up yourself, essentially. You just get a body, get the kit of clothes, and then you use the Hot Toys Bruce Wayne head to make that figure up. We've got the Hot Toys Robert Pattinson Batman, who is coming down the steps in the nightclub. And I've always loved that figure. Hot Toys done a really good job of that one. Always looked fantastic. And then I used the other part of the base for the Mezco Batman figure, because once you put the wingsuit on, it looks like he's ready to jump off the edge of the police building. So of course all the Mezco base and everything's hidden down the back. You just see him on the edge of the building there. So I thought that looked really cool. Next up we have the 66 section. So we've got the Mars Toys Joker and the Riddler double pack, which comes with him in his two different outfits. So again, really impressed they did that because it gives you both options. You got the Riddler in the suit and then also his regular leotard as well. And there's just a few accessories from the show next to those. The Batman and Robin are the official Hot Toys ones. I know a company called Saturn Toys did them as well, which were essentially just rip-offs of these, which are fine, but yeah, just cheaper versions of these ones basically. Behind them you got the Eagle Moss Batcycle, and then these are my recent pickup, which you may have seen a previous YouTube video of, and they are the DC Direct Batman and Robin statues from the opening cartoon of the show. And I was really happy to actually find out these were the first officially licensed collectible from the 66 series. So yeah, pretty cool thing to have in the collection, and I think they just look fantastic. So underneath that we have another 66 section. So at the very back here we have the recently acquired Mattel utility belt set, which comes with a Batarang, and I just could not believe how well that fit in this cabinet. I opened the two doors, the two flaps on the box, and as you can see here, it fit absolutely perfect to the edges of the cabinet. So I was happy with that. And then we also have the Mattel Batusi set, which I absolutely love. So on that, you press a button and it plays the music, and then you can toggle another button, which it makes it look like Batman's doing the dance. And on top of that, we have the Eagle Moss Batgirl cycle and the McFarlane Retro Batgirl figure. We have the Jada 66 Batmobile, the Eagle Moss Batboat, and on top of that we have a couple of Funkos from the surfing episode. We have Batman and Joker, and I thought just for good measure I'll put a bottle of shark repellent spray as well. And then over this side we have again McFarlane Retro Batman and Robin, who have got themselves into a bit of a pickle with some bad guys. We have the Wax Robin and the Pink Cowl Batman, and they're alongside the Bat Computer from a Mattel set, which I think was just called To the Batcave, and it came with that cardboard backdrop, and they got a few accessories on the side, including Batman's glass of milk. So here we have the Arkham section underneath that, where I've tried to incorporate the different games into one little section here. So we have the XE suit from Arkham Origins, done by Hot Toys. DC Collectibles Black Mask, alongside the Mattel Arkham Origins Batman figure. And I have recently managed to pre-order the new in-art figure, by the way, of Batman from Origins, and that looks absolutely fantastic. So I guess in time that will end up taking the place of this one. We have the Crazy Toys Deathstroke, which is like a sculpted statue, basically sort of ripped off from the Hot Toys figure, but again this looks pretty cool and much cheaper than Hot Toys as well. At the back there you'll see we have a Hugo Strange to resemble Arkham City. We have an angry looking penguin who has stabbed his umbrella into a Batarang. And we have the Arkham City Batman. And we have Joker with Harley underneath. towards the back there we have Arkham Knight, which again is DC collectibles alongside this Scarecrow. We have a Bruce Wayne head, which is to fit onto the Hot Toys Arkham Knight Batman, which again has always been a fantastic looking figure. So yeah, we have that there. And then just as a little extra, we have the Eagle Moss Batmobiles. It's probably hard to see with the glare, but we have Arkham Knight, the Arkham Origins Batwing, and the Arkham Asylum Batmobile there. We have Killer Croc and Bane. And then here we have the huge NECA 18-inch Arkham Origins Batman as well. And some extra bits from the 66 series. We have the McFarlane diorama of Wayne Manor with Alfred giving it a little spring clean. Batman, which is a Mattel figure with his cowl off. And then some more McFarlane 66 line, and that is the villain set with a range of rogues there, up to no good. Next to that we have some more 60s related Batman. So we have the Adventures of Batman cartoon, Batman, Robin and Joker, and the Eagle Moss Batmobile. And the Batmanga figure which McFarlane did, which again is sort of based off the 60s Batman, which is a fantastic figure for any fans of 60s Batman. So starting at the top of Unit 2, we have some extra Batman Forever stuff. So this little statue here from back in the day, it is literally from 1995. Of course, the likeness and the faces don't look good at all, but I've always loved this because it's actually from the deleted end scene of Batman Forever, where it was supposed to end exactly like this. Batman and Robin standing on the edge of the building, and of course that was changed up for them running in front of the bat signal. So I thought it's just a cool little reference to what we should have got. And then we have the recently, well I say recently, it was about a year ago now, released Spin Master Batman Forever Batmobile, which is absolutely fantastic. Really happy with any of these sort of retro style figures that companies are bringing out, and hopefully we'll keep getting more from other films. We have some plastic mugs, head mugs from a company called Applause, one of each character. And that is the Mattel Batman Forever figure of the Panther suit. And sort of famously, we never hardly get any sort of collectibles with the Panther suit. They always tend to usually go for the Sonar suit. So I thought I'd display this one. Next up, we have the Justice League section. So we have a load of Hot Toys. We've got the tactical suit Batman, his regular suit from Justice League, the Bruce Wayne, which to be honest, I can't remember what the company is called, but that is from Justice League, of course, when he's on the search for Aquaman. Hot Toys Nightmare Batman. That is another recent pickup. That's the Muff Toys Nightmare Batman. And the Caillou Joker, which pairs absolutely brilliantly with this Batman. We have a Dead Parademon. And then Wonder Woman, which is SH Figure Arts, and the McFarlane Steppenwolf. Next up is the Batman v Superman section. So we have the recently released Fonjoy Armoured Batman and Superman 2-pack. And that is the Hot Toys Armoured Batman. The regular Batfleck from Hot Toys. This is the Daft Toys Alfred, who is doing some work on the cowl at the moment. So I thought that looks pretty cool. And a Crazy Toys Joker, which again is like a sort of moulded statue as such. But yeah, absolutely fine with that. Although obviously Jared Leto's Joker is not very popular, I just need something of him in the collection, as I tend to have all the different Jokers, so I couldn't really not have him. And then I thought what would be good next to him is this Robin costume. I believe these are Cos Babies, which are made by Hot Toys. So we have Bruce Wayne from the scene where he's looking at the bat suit, and then the Robin costume there as well. We have a Funko from Suicide Squad, just to resemble the mask that he wore on that film. The Jada Batmobile. Underneath that, we have the Batman Forever section here. So first up, we have the Mars Toys Two-Face and Riddler, which looks absolutely fantastic. Once again, Mars Toys doing a brilliant job here. Even the accessories you get were just absolutely fantastic and straight from the movie. And then we have the Jada Batman Forever Batmobile, The box at the back there actually contains replica back cuffs from the film. We have the Hot Toys Batman and Robin, the Funko of the Panther suit, which again we don't get very often at all, so I love that. We have the Igor Moss Bat Boat, which on the backdrop actually features a little image of the Batwing as well. Funko Riddler in his final suit, and then Alfred, which again is Mars Toys. So the Batman and Robin section is a little bit random at the moment, but to be honest, they're just sort of placeholders really, because of course at some point, hopefully in 2026, we should be getting the Hot Toys Mr. Freeze, Batman and Robin, and obviously Mars Toys are doing Bane as well, and I'm sure at some point someone will do Poison Ivy. So eventually there will be all the 1/6 scale figures in there. But for now, we have the McFarlane wave of Batman and Robin, Mr. Freeze, Batgirl, Batman, Robin, and Poison Ivy. We have a few die-cast vehicles which come out back in the day. We've got the Ice Hammer and the Redbird, the McFarlane cowl from Batman and Robin, the Funko of the Ice Suit Batman, the Igor Moss Batmobile, a replica credit card from the film, a little puzzle cube, which I thought was quite cool. Obviously you can change the images when you mess about with the cube, and just a few little mugs at the back there as well. Now this statue again is from back in the day, so the likeness is not the best, but I thought for now, until the Hot Toys figure come out, we'll just stick with this one. So on top of cabinet 3, we have the Flash section. So we've got the huge McFarlane Batwing from the movie, which looks pretty cool being on the top of the display like that. And then in terms of the display, we have the Hot Toys Ben Affleck Batman and Michael Keaton Batman. And then we have the McFarlane Flash figures, so one of each different Flash running at the sides there. And then we have a few Funko Pops, again, one of Batfleck, one of General Zod, who's of course the villain of the film, one of Keaton and one of Supergirl. And then we have the McFarlane Batcycle for Ben Affleck's Batman. And then I thought I'd just add the Keaton head in there just to be able to see that as well. And then under that we have the Batman Returns section. So we have this fantastic looking NECA Catwoman, which is pretty big, but with her legs bent like this, she does actually fit into the cabinet, so that's handy. The Igor Moss Batmobile, which has the fins on the sides from like the opening scene. Oh, and the ERTL diecast Bat Missile, but apparently McFarlane are going to be doing that soon, so might have to get that one. The Hot Toys Batman Returns Batman, which this is the 1.0 version, but that still looks fantastic. I've always loved this as well, the Iron Studios Penguin statue, because of course it features pretty much everything you need on there. You've got his yellow duck, a few penguins, and Oswald Cobblepot himself. And at the back there we have an old print of Batman Returns, you can just about see. I thought that would make a nice little backdrop. And then we have the recently released McFarlane Max Schreck figure, which is the first time we've ever got anything of him. The Funko Bruce Wayne / Batman. And of course the Igor Moss Bat Ski Boat as well, which I've always loved that vehicle too. So the 89 section, again, a bit random, but it's because I've had to spread it out, and I'll tell you why in a second. So we have some Mars Toys figures. So we've got the Jack Napier, Bruce Wayne, and the Joker. I absolutely love this alternative head. That's obviously from the museum scene, so I thought I'd put a few accessories next to him there. Oh, that's the Quick Change Bruce Wayne from back in the day. An Igor Moss Batmobile, which has got the armor mode on. A few Funkos again. We've got Joker and Batman and Joker there from the end of the film. The Igor Moss Batwing, which you can just about see there. That is the NECA Batman. And the Hot Toys Mime Joker, which looks brilliant in the corner there. And on the wall, I've put the Spin Master Batwing, which again, they did a fantastic job with that, and it literally cost £20. And that is just brilliant. But of course, the reason why I've had to spread it out is because we have the 89 Hot Toys figure here, which I absolutely love. But of course, with the diorama base, it just doesn't fit in the cabinet. But I'm not mad about it because it makes a really nice centerpiece on this unit, which I'll get to in just a second. So next up is the Dark Knight trilogy section. So again, I've tried to incorporate the 3 different films into one little display. So we have the PVC Bane from Diamond Select, who is standing on top of the tumbler. We have the Movie Masters Mattel Catwoman, who's actually with the Mafex Bat Pod. I've just had that for years, so I've always kept it just to pair her with that. The DX19 Hot Toys Batman. The Joker, which isn't the latest version, it's the one before, but that still looks great in my opinion. We have again Mattel Two-Face. The Jada Tumbler Batmobile. And that is the Hot Toys Batman Begins, Batman and Scarecrow. And this is the Soap Studios Bruce and Rachel Gould from the sort of training scene from Batman Begins. Next up, we have another large NECA 18-inch figure from Batman Begins. I've always loved the look of this one, and it's got a few cool little extra details which I've never seen on any other figure. For example, on the bottom of his boot, he actually has the little remote control which he uses in the film to summon the bats, and it is removable from his boot as well, which I thought was really cool. Next up, we have a small little canvas print which I've just put there. The DC Direct, I think it is, grapnel launcher replica, which is a heavy polystone statue of the grapnel gun, which is really cool. We have a few Funkos here from, again, the Dark Knight trilogy. That is the Mafex Bank Robber Joker, and again, like a Mattel Bruce Wayne Batman, or prototype Batman I should say. In this little section, we have the Patriot Studios Joker figures, which are basically like Mezco, small figures with cloth goods clothing. So we have the Arthur Fleck, Joker from the bathroom scene, and you get the diorama, which looks great. And then the sort of Live with Murray Franklin scene where he is ready to shoot him. I've just plonked this here for now, but that's the Spin Master Batmobile from the Batman. And that is the one with the lights and sounds as well. Bit of a random section this one, but I'm currently halfway through watching Justice League, and every time I keep picking up some new cheap collectibles. For now I've just been putting them here, but of course I will do something different with this section soon. So we have a couple of Kenner Superman figures, some Mattel Justice League 10-inch figures. I think that must probably be Warner Brothers Studio Store Superman coin bank from back in the day, and this would be like a DC Direct statue, and that is based on Bruce Timm's art of Batman. Similar kind of thing with this section. It looks a bit messy, but it's just things I've been watching recently, and picked up a few random collectibles, but in time I'll no doubt do away with them and perhaps just display one of each Batman or something like that. But basically at the back we have Beware the Batman with a few collectibles from that show, which we got very little of, to be honest. Diamond Select did the Deathstroke statue, or bust I should say. Mattel did the figure, and Eagle Moss done the Batmobile, and to be quite honest, I think that is about it from that show. That's pretty much all we got. And then we have Batman Brave and the Bold, so a few Mattel figures. These little minifigures, which are pretty cool, like one of each character, and the Eagle Moss Batmobile. So this is just a little section from the Batman. We have this dust cowl replica, which looks great. Just a light box and a Funko, the cheap sort of Spin Master figures that came with that Batmobile down there. And I think that is an Iron Studios figure, basically like a Funko, but I've always liked the look of this one as well. Now it's a bit random, but in this long box here, which didn't quite fit anywhere to be honest, so I've just put it under that light box, but that is the Dust Batman glyph, which essentially is the emblem that goes on his chest. And again, it's a really cool heavy metal collector's piece in a display box, which I'm really happy to have. So if you wonder why I've still got a PS3, it's because the first editions of the PlayStation 3 were actually backwards compatible. So I got a backwards compatible PlayStation 3 in order to play all the retro Batman games from PS1, 2 and 3. So I've been working my way through those. And here we have the Diamond Select Injustice 2 Batman, which looks great. And in these 66 storage boxes is where all my games and Blu-rays are as well. In this section here, we have a few overspill animated series items, which we'll get onto the rest of the collection in a little while. So again, we have some Diamond Select busts there, and a collector's plate, which would have been from the Warner Brothers Studio store, I believe. And that's Batman and Two-Face on there, and I've always loved that. And underneath, we have some more Diamond Select, this time PVC statues of Nightwing and Batgirl. Warner Brothers Studio Store coin bust again, and mug, and the little minifigure here as well. Now on top of my TV unit here, I've got some 89 collectibles, and they're kind of, some of these are actually my grails, to be honest. So we have the Hot Toys Batman, which I was referring to earlier, with the large diorama base. The behind the scenes book of the movie, which I've got signed by Bob Ringwood from when I worked for him. A little collector's card there as well. A Funko of Batman and Vicky Vale in the Batcave. Lego Batmobile. Some prop replicas from NECA of the grapnel gun and the Batarang, and that is the little device he uses to call the Batmobile, which again this year I did manage to get a grail of mine, which is the Iron Studios Batmobile. Absolutely love this thing. It looks perfect as a centerpiece for the collection. So they did a really nice job with this. Obviously it is a heavy polystone statue, and that just looks absolutely fantastic. And I love the fact that the base obviously looks like the Batcave as well, with the rock formations. So yeah, absolutely fantastic that is. And then next up we have the Pure Arts replica cowl with the NECA utility belt underneath, which I thought I'd display together. And again, they did a fantastic job with this. If you look really closely, it's got all the detail and imperfections in the cowl, and a nice stand underneath, which you can't quite see, but there we go. It's part of the building from the City Hall, which you will see here. So that's what that is. And finally, we have this little card, which Bob Ringwood gave me when I worked for him, which of course only people who worked on the film would have got one of these. So it's saying he's from the costume department. And yeah, it's basically like a little security ID card to be able to get on and off the lot of the movie. So that's pretty cool as well. So chair wise, I picked up this little leather chair from Amazon. Pretty cheap, but really comfortable, to be honest. Sticking out the side as well, we have the Fugler Batman, which I got for Father's Day this year, along with the animated series plush, which I've actually had since I was a child. And then my little coffee table, I thought, with it being Christmas, I'll display Christmas with the Joker pieces here. And to be honest, that's just the sort of place I would keep any recent books and that I've bought, or DVDs which I still need to watch and read. So here we have some more animated series art. This one's by somebody called Pablo Oliveira. So although it technically does just say Batman the Animated Series, because he's wearing the new Batman Adventures costume, and I said about how I want to try get one from each DCAU animated movie. So of course I've got the Mask of the Phantasm and Sub-Zero ones there. I was going to sort of base this on the Batman and Superman movie, and then underneath, literally coming right now from America, I've got a print of Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, which is going to look fantastic, and I've got just the right amount of space for that there. So then in my mind, I've sort of covered each animated movie, if you see what I mean. So that's my plan there. So next up we have another Sam Ferguson Batmobile print, this time from The Batman. And this is the gold foil variant, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. So of course that's sort of based on the scene in the film where he's just chased the Penguin down and he's walking towards him. And obviously hard to see on the video, but obviously being gold foil, the logo and everything just stands out really nicely. So yeah, really happy with this. So this little section is a bit random as well, but we have the NECA 66 Batman there, another 18-inch figure. And because I really want to try cover all the different versions of Batman, we have the cartoon Justice League Action. So we got a few figures from that show here. Batman Unlimited, some more 66 collectibles. So we got the Batcopter from Eagle Moss, and this Funko 3.75-inch figure, which is the prototype suit from the test footage, which looks absolutely fantastic. And we have the retro animated series figure from Mask of the Phantasm, and the recently released McFarlane figures, which again are based on Kenner designs, so kind of to fit in with that, like a kind of retro vibe basically. And then underneath here, so we now have the electric cabinet door, which is now fixed by magnets. So instead of having to allow all the space for the door to come out, now I can just simply lift it off the magnets and just get it through this gap, so I can still access all the fuse box and everything if I need to. And to make use of the door, I've also just nailed on a few nails just to display these, which are the micro figures from back in the day from Kenner, and I absolutely love these from the new Batman Adventures. It's got Riddler, Joker and Mr. Freeze set there. Again, we have more Kenner stuff here. These are the oversized figures, like the dolls that they did. I just have Batman and Joker because I think they look great. And again, just to cover different cartoons, that's another Batman Unlimited figure there. And we have Harley Quinn from her animated series as well. On top of the first cabinet this side, this is the McFarlane Batman Beyond Batmobile and figures. So we have Shriek and Batman there. Underneath that we have a little section for Joker and Harley. So I think this Diamond Select Legends in 3D bust is probably one of my favourite things in the collection. Got Joker and Batman underneath, which absolutely love them. Again, looks straight from the show. The detail on them is insane, and they just look absolutely fantastic. And then we have, I believe that is the Kota Bakia Joker, which has some swappable parts like the heads and weapons. Diamond Select again, Harley on her first appearance of Joker's favour. The Funko of Harleen Quinzel, and that is an old DC Direct statue of Harley on the cards, which I absolutely love that as well. And then moving down, so again, the other Diamond Select Legends in 3D Batman bust, which again is probably one of my favourite things in the whole collection. Absolutely love this. And we have a few little random bits and pieces. So we've got the NECA grapnel gun, the Eagle Moss Batmobile, and these are little ERTL die-cast things from back in the day, all which I've had since I was a kid. Underneath that we have a little retro section here again. So these are the quite recently released Mezco figures. Absolutely fantastic idea to use the Kenner style packaging, and really excited for more waves of these. So we have Joker, Catwoman, Robin and Batman. At the back there's the Batmobile there as well. So yeah, these are just fantastic, and I absolutely love the fact that you can just keep them in the package because you can see clearly everything that comes inside. And on the top there we do have the original combat belt Batman, which again was my first ever Batman figure from back in the day. Mine's customized a little bit because he has a little mask on, which actually came with a different animated series figure, but I thought it looks really cool being on him. So underneath that we have the Batman Beyond section. So this large statue is again a Warner Brothers Studio Store statue from back in the day. We have the DC Collectibles Bruce, Ace the Bat Hound and Batman, the NECA Batarang, Eagle Moss Batmobile, some Funkos from the show including Blight, and this Mattel figure is Bruce Wayne just before he actually retires as Batman, which I thought was pretty neat, and that's probably the only one I can think of which features that version of Batman. So if you think of the first episode of Batman Beyond, Rebirth, just before he gives up as Batman, yeah, it's like an old Bruce but not quite as old as that Bruce. So yeah, pretty cool. So up here we have some cell art of Harley Quinn and Joker, which look brilliant. Can't quite see it, but at the back there we do have on top of the cabinet the DC Collectibles animated series Batmobile, along with the Bat Cycle, which I've always loved that as well. And we have Robin, which again is another Diamond Select PVC coin bank. I believe that's the Kotobukiya Batman based on the opening of the animated series show. And we have Gordon and Bullock alongside the Bat Signal. So in this first section, I've tried to base it again on the different animated DCAU movies. So we have Mask of the Phantasm. So you can see you've got the Mondo Phantasm figure there. Some DC Collectibles / McFarlane figures. Again, this is a Mondo Batman figure. And then moving on, we've got Mondo Mr. Freeze. And for Sub-Zero, so I've got a Batman, Batgirl, Robin, Mr. Freeze, and some polar bears which I picked up recently, which I think looks pretty cool. This is to represent the Batman and Superman movie. So we've got Diamond Select Lex Luthor. That is the Mafex Joker and Batman there, which are great figures. And a little Kenner Batman with his wingsuit, which he wears in that film as well. If you look behind Lex Luthor, he's actually holding, I don't know if you'll be able to see, he's actually holding a lump of kryptonite, which is really cool. So a nice little touch there. And of course we've got Batman Beyond, kind of to resemble Return of the Joker, but haven't really got much, we never really got much from that film, so I suppose having Joker next to him makes sense. But we have the Diamond Select Terry McGinnis and Mondo Batman, Batman Beyond there as well. Now these sections are quite cluttered, to be honest, but I really want to display all the different characters because, you know, I love the animated series and I didn't want to just have a few. So we've got pretty much all the different characters from both the animated series and the new Batman Adventures. We've got the Eagle Moss Batmobile from the new Batman Adventures as well. This little Commissioner Gordon is an old Kenner figure, but I just thought I'd add that in there too. So I've tried to do it where kind of this side is TMBA and then obviously more the original animated series over this side. Below that we have the Justice League section, which I'm now currently halfway through watching. So I've just been sort of recently adding bits and pieces to that. So that might change up a little bit over time. But we have a few different Batman figures and statues there. These Diamond Select Batman and Superman statues, again, look fantastic. I think it's a real travesty that Diamond Select aren't around anymore because, to be honest, they've made some of my favourite products of all time. These Mattel figures all look fantastic. Each character has their own base, which obviously spells out Justice League there. We have a Mattel Superman 10-inch figure. The Mattel Justice Lords 3-pack. This Batman set, which is cool, it has a breakable window with the Joker sticker on it. These figures are all from the Superman animated series, but obviously it kind of works being in the Justice League section. So you've got Darkseid, Brainiac, Lex Luthor and Metallo. And this Metallo I thought was really cool. When you press the button on his back, it pops open on the front to reveal the kryptonite. And in the bottom section we have the Batman animated series. So there's a little plush teddy there. We have a selection of different characters from the show. Batman with his wingsuit. We have the two different Batmobiles because you've got the original one there, and this side we have the newer version. We have a card backdrop from the show there as well, which is pretty cool. And one of my other grails, which I managed to get last year, was this DC Direct statue of the Batman, because that just looks absolutely fantastic. And just above the door here we have the Arkham Asylum Batarang, which originally came with like a cracked wall effect sticker, but that was in our old house and I couldn't really get it off. So yeah, unfortunately I don't have that anymore, although I might be able to find a replacement on eBay or something like that. But that does also light up, which is pretty cool. On the back of the door we currently have a Dark Knight poster, which is a holographic poster, and underneath that it's a perfect spot. I do already have a poster from Justice League, the movie, with Batman, Superman and Wonder Woman, so I might put that there. So in terms of comic books, graphic novels and different various Batman hardback books, of course they don't really fit in the room. Again, that just looks way too cluttered. So temporarily they're just here upstairs on some random shelving. I do also have a few extra little collectibles and statues which don't really go in the room because they're sort of comic book related rather than animated or movie related. So the plan is, in the springtime, we're actually turning our spare bedroom into like a mini library because my other half, Melissa, is also into her books as well. So I thought that'd be a cool idea to have a room dedicated just for our books, and I can get all these displayed properly. So hopefully once that's all done, at some point next year, I can do another video to showcase all the different books in the collection. So yeah, that's pretty much my room. And I suppose the only other thing worth a mention is, of course, I do have all the original Kenner stuff, but of course you just can't possibly display everything. So that would be obviously all the original animated series figures and play sets, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, basically all the 90s stuff that Kenner did. Do have all of that, but yeah, I've just had to sort of keep it all stored in the loft, nicely boxed up, to be honest, because yeah, just literally cannot display everything. And of course nowadays with all these new collectibles coming out, of course they look so much better to be on display in the shelves. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to like and subscribe to see more of my lifelong collection of Batman. I try and upload regular videos of different items in my collection or any new pickups that I might acquire. Thanks very much.